Hey everyone, it's Monday. Monday means I'm going to give you an art challenge. So your art challenge today is to get back into Adobe Spark. We used this way back when we lost the computers in January, and it's an online free design site. It's pretty amazing. It has video, it has social media design. There's a lot of stuff that is loaded in here. And I use it on my phone frequently. I use it on the computer. It's even as a designer, I use it when I need to quickly design things. So you're going to go to Adobe Spark, which I've linked for you on the website, and you're going to sign in. You sign in the same way that you would using anything Adobe in our schools. So just click with Google and go ahead and continue. By the way, when I give you a weekly challenge, as we're waiting for this to load, that means you have a week to work on it. So if you finish this today and you're like, I just want to turn this in and be done with it, there's a link on today's post with a Google slideshow for you to put the work into, which I'll demo here at the end of the video. If you want to get to it later and put it on a list for things to do later, that's fine. I'm making one change. The school would like our attendance taken for the week by the end of the day Friday. So I'm going to need you to finish up anything for Friday or artwork by noon on Friday. So then in the afternoon, I can just run through and make sure everybody's got stuff saved. So this would be due on noon, by noon this Friday. But if you finish it today, awesome. So you can go, up to the top here and search for templates. I don't even know. I haven't even looked if there's like a playlist template. Your assignment today is to create for me a little designed list of like your go-to songs. So what would be the 3 or more songs that you could listen to on repeat again and again and again and again when you're in quarantine. You could view it as a way for you to like tell other people what kind of music you like, or you could just have it as a, something that's just your list of music. It's completely up to you how you handle it. Maybe it has a theme, whatever. But when I say playlist, if you don't see like an automatic playlist here when I just looked for it in a like a template, it doesn't mean you can't make it. What you should be looking for is kind of like a style that you like. So do you want a design background? Do you want big color? Do you want a photo in the background? Do you like this typeface? Do you like that kind of style? It doesn't really matter. I mean, ideally, you might have seen these playlists on Instagram. If you want to post it someday, awesome. You don't have to do that. It's just for us to kind of practice design. So I'm going to go with, I kind of like this little style here, and I'm going to hit create. Now it's not set up exactly the way I would want a playlist set up, but that's okay. You can move things around and adjust. So as we wait for it to load, a couple of things to keep in mind. You need to have a title on your playlist. So that means you're going to pick font that's already there, or you're going to design it or add it, whatever you want. This is already there and it kind of looks like a title, but I feel like it needs to be bigger. So I'm going to stretch that first, but you can always add that later. If you double click on it, you get the ability to change the text. So you can name it quarantine playlist. You can name it COVID mixtape. I don't care. Whatever you want to do, just so that it's implying what the project is. And then you can see I'm just grabbing it and kind of placing it. Now you'll notice in Spark, it gives you these alignment guys that are kind of telling you, if things are aligned. That's important. Keep an eye on those. That really helps when you're designing. So some things that you can do, you can change size right here. And you'll see how there's some design on this page where it's causing some interaction. You can change letter spacing. So if you want it to be more or less condensed, line spacing as well. You can change opacity. You can change the order, so you can bring it in front or behind things, but you can't really see that right now. You can also change how it's aligned, and you can change the font. So for the sake of time, I'm going to keep it this font, and I'm going to scroll down here and move the order. There we go. So see how it popped in front of that circle. So I'm going to just keep it like that for now. Then here, maybe is my secondary font that was listed on this guy, and this is going to be my list of songs. So I'm going to double click there, and you can number them if you want. You can put little asterisks on them. Everything will be all right. If you want to list like who the song is by, you can. You can do that kind of a thing. It's completely up to you. So let's just kind of go with that. And then you can see how you're going to have to play with making this more of a list. I want the song to be on its own in front. So again, I'm going to go down here to order. I'm going to slide it until it's in front. Paying attention to how it's interacting with the background. So then you can add another line of text if you want to. So here you can add text, or you can just go back into this guy and double click and go again. I'm realizing I didn't capitalize here, so you can see how easy it is to go in and adjust. I'm thinking it probably would be best to add the musicians, but you guys can figure that out. So I'm doing that, and I need you to have at least 3 songs. So what else do I want here, keeping with my theme? There we go. So we're just going to go with that. This little bit of text came in my template. If I want to keep it, I can. If I don't have to. Now, you could do something where you add some extra text. Like this would kind of fit nice if I do that kind of thing, so that I've got like the musician down here. When things get real small like this, sometimes it's a little bit harder to adjust it. So you might find, let's see, I thought there was a way, I guess not, that I could zoom in. Can I zoom in? No, that'd be cool if I could though, wouldn't it? But anyway, I thought there was a way that you could nudge it. On the digital one you can. Let's see if I do use my arrow keys. Oh, look at, there we go. Arrow keys, you can arrow that over. That's going to be a little bit better for you, especially on the Chromebook. If you don't have a mouse, it's going to be really obnoxious. So I'm going to do this kind of a thing. And I'm also going to change the text because I want that to be identified as something different. When you're changing text, think about text that's going to look good together, and also think about how legible it is. One of the mistakes that students make when they're designing is they're like, "Oh, this looks fun," but then it's really hard to read. So if you have this font that you're like loving and you just really like the style of it, consider using that for the title, not for stuff that's important to read. So keep it almost like super simple, like simpler than you want it to be. And remember, when you click on it, it gives you the name. So when I do the others, when I add the other musicians, I can add them there. So, and oh my gosh, there we go. So let's go back to the title then. Here's where maybe I want more personality happening. So I can kind of play through these and like see like, okay, you know, what do they look like with the different typefaces, and looking, I'm always paying attention to if that typeface kind of gets along with the other typeface, because if they don't, that's when things get weird. Now this one's kind of nice, too small, but if I make it nice and big, which is another thing to think about, when you're designing something, you really want to draw someone's attention to the first thing they should pay attention to, which is probably the title of something, right? Or if it's an announcement, you know, what's the thing you want them to read first? It wouldn't make sense to read all these names of songs without knowing what the songs are about. So I want my quarantine playlist to be real big. I'm also going to go here and go to some text effects and just see what they do. I might not like them. Well, that's kind of fun, like the negative space there. Here's a negative space and drop shadow. I kind of like the cutout. So you can play around. That brings some more attention to my quarantine playlist title, which I really like. Now, this is not all set yet. I'm going to pause and finish it up for you, but obviously I have to add the names of these other musicians. Things are going to get a little bit clunky, but the other thing I want to talk to you about is adding an icon. So if you go, if you go here, you can go to this add at the top and you can add an icon. I want you to add at least one icon on your playlist. There are lots of icons out there. You get to choose what icon you want. Do you want it to be something that has to do with music? Do you want it to be something that has to do with the theme of your songs or something that's in a song? Do you want it to be a designy icon? Do you want it to be something to do with quarantine or health? I mean, I would imagine if you look this up, there's like a million that have to do with health. There we go. What about happy? All my songs are kind of like positive, so there's a positive message. What about music? So there's going to be a lot for you to choose from. Think again about space, balance. What do you want people to see first and next and next and next? I kind of like this guy on the white background. There we go. Took a minute there. Because it sort of matches the white that's happening up here. Now it's the wrong color. So if I go over here to suggested color or play with any of these colors, you can see how it changes. But I like that the white is mimicking the white of this box. So I think I'm going to go with that for now. I'm going to pause for just a second, finish up this design, and think for a minute if there's anything else I need to tell you, because we're already long enough in this video. So I've added in more of the text here for the subcategories for the musicians. And looking at it, it all looks a little squished up at the top. So another thing that I want you to be thinking about, you have to have your title, you have to have 3 or more songs, you have to have an icon, it has to create unity, but it's also kind of the balance of this whole design. I've got a square format, which means I've got some empty space down here, and this little design that was already built into my template helps. But let's play with moving things. So I don't know if you guys remember from using, sorry, my dog's running around back here, from using the other programs, but if you hold Shift, you should be allowed to click on more than one thing at a time. Now see how it's giving us some trouble because these 2 text boxes were overlapping. So I'm going to go to these little guys first. I'm still holding Shift. Click on this again. There we go. Now they're all selected. If I hit my arrow keys, I can move the whole thing down. It can be easier maybe than using your finger. A mouse is great if you have one. But see how now I'm kind of trying to balance that negative space underneath and up here. And if I click off, they're all deselected. So that's kind of nice. I'm feeling pretty good about that. I mean, it's nice and simple. The other thing you can do if you want is start to play with color. So I had this template that was already there, but looking through, here's some other color options that you can use. One of the bummers about Adobe, you can undo, but I don't know how undo-ish you can go. So like if I click here to this blue, now everything that I added is blue, but the background's not blue, which is kind of curious. So what can I do about that? All right, it's starting to go here. That's kind of fun. So it looks like by clicking shuffle, you can start to play with those colors. You can also, nope, I don't want to do that. I thought there was a color spinner. Sometimes there's a spinner that you can play with. Okay, so it looks like the pink in the background is staying locked, and I'm not really sure why. It's not a bad thing, it just does create some more complication. Part of the fun of using this program that I'm not super familiar with is surprises, good or bad, right? But you can click through until you find something that you like. Now that one has a lot of nice contrast. I don't know that I love the navy and the pink together, but I do like what was happening in the background. So you're always thinking about, what would make the best overall design for you. Let me just try one last thing. So it looks like I can select like this circle, which is not really letting me change the color, which is interesting. Oh, it's putting it in there as a photo. Interesting. So part of the weirdness of this program is just these little surprises, right? I thought I knew what that was, but it's reading it as a photo. So by clicking on all these buttons is really what's going to help you figure out the best design. Let's just say that I'm done. Am I meeting requirements? Yes, I have a title, I have 3 or more songs, I have an icon, I feel like I have unity, I feel like the title stands out. So we're going to say that I am done here. Let me move myself over to the side. Sorry guys. So what is going to happen now is it's going to save this into my projects as long as I'm signed in, but because I feel like I'm done with the image, I'm going to download the image. Now you guys are on Chromebooks, most of you. I'm on a laptop here, so mine's going to act a little bit different from yours, but you want to download it as a PNG or a JPEG. Don't know if you guys remember that. So I'm going to download it. It's not giving me an option, so it's just going to my downloads at the bottom of the screen like it probably would for you guys too. And that's what you really want. But I do want you to know that if you go back into your home, see it's saving your post, and then it'll show up as a project. I don't know if you guys remember that from last time. So there's my project. So that's kind of cool. I'm going to pause real quick again and then show you how to upload it into the slideshow.